Excel. The same way, if you want to write codes, there are text editors that you use to write your codes. Now, there are various text editors. We have Visual Studio Code. We have Sublime Text. Now, we have Anaconda. We have Notepad. We have a whole lot of text editors now. But the one we'll be using now for the purpose of this class is Visual Studio Code. VS Code is one of the text editors that we have. Now, if you don't have that installed, you have to install it. So what I did was Visual Studio Code actually suggests, so it brought this out. Now we'll quickly explain this. What we are doing is we want to create HTML. Okay, the first thing whenever you want to create an HTML file is you have to create a file and save it .html. Like for example, if you want to create a file, Jamal, and you want to use HTML code inside it, you have to say jamal.html or GDG, anything, any file that is relating to HTML, you must save it to .html, and HTML is hypertext markup language. HTML is not a programming language, actually, it's a markup language. Yeah. So now we'll quickly explain this. Your doc type HTML, it's saying that this is an HTML, it's just like document type. Document type is HTML and it's version 5. The version of HTML we're using presently is HTML5. Now this HTML, the 1 year, and the 1 year is just like your root stack. Your root stack. Okay, let me explain this. There is something like this in HTML. Oh, I hope you can see my screen. Okay.
Yes, I can.
So this is what we call open and closing tag in HTML. Open tag. This is open tag. This is close tag. It's just like you're greater than and you're less than, but your closing tag has like a slash. So that's why we have open HTML layer and we have close HTML layer. So HTML is just like the root tag. Then we have our head tag, our open and close head. Now this contains some meta informations about what we're actually doing. We have our meta chassis, like talking about the encoding. We have the meta content here. Then the meta viewpoint, this one that works with responsiveness. All these things are not what we'll be going to. If we want to start going into them, then we are going a long way. Then we have a title. A title that is telling us about, it's just like you saying what this file is used for. Okay, I can say this is for GDG. Sorry. For GDG Ogumosho's live coding class. It's just like a title of what you're doing. If you're building a website now, you're saying Jamal brand, you can just give it your title, Jamal's brand, anything. It's just like telling you about what the file is about. Then everything you want to display in your browser, as I've said in the beginning of the class, that any HTML document you're creating will be viewed. You'll be writing your code there, but you'll be viewing the results in your browser. So anything you want to display to your browser will be in between your open body and your closed body, your open body and your closed body. And you can only do all this inside of your text editors, any of the text editors, Sublime, Anaconda, Visual Studio Code, Brackets, Notepad, anyone. Yeah. I hope Mr. Jamal now gets what we are doing. Mr. Jamal, can we move on? Wow, it's not saying anything. So I believe
it just responded, yes, ma'am.
Okay, great.
Well, the offer remains the first person to respond to the feedback using his mic. I owe him airtime. Can continue, ma'am.
So I think I should have talked about indentation. Indentation is just like a way of making your code neat. When you want to indent your code, you highlight from your open head to your closed body. The indentation helps a lot. It allows your code to be well structured, well aligned. It doesn't just, if there's time, probably before the end of the class, I'll show you some codes that how do I say this now? It's very funny. Some codes that when you see them, you'll be like, wow, who was the developer that actually did this? Because they are so rough and I don't know, they are not structured, they are not aligned. But indentation helps that your codes are neatly written, they are aligned, they are structured, and when other people see your code, no, they will feel like, this person is actually great, like this is good work. But there's a way a developer can actually write their codes, and when they see it, they will know this person is not serious. But that was the joke actually saying. Indentation really helps. It makes your code very, very neat, like very, very structured. So to indent, I'll try that again. You are alight from your open head to your closed body. That's all. So the first thing we'll be doing is I'll be creating H1. I'll be saying hello world. Now let's start styling. Now the first type of styling I'll be using is inline styling. Whenever you want to, I hope everyone is seeing my screen.
Yes, we're seeing your screen now.
Great.
Yes, we are seeing your screen.
Great. So if you want to style, if you want to use inline styling, what you will do is you will say, okay, style. It's just like you calling an attribute. HTML has a whole lot of attributes. You say style. Now, CSS this is something very, very important. Let me explain that, which is property and value. This is what CSS is all about, property and value. What is property? What is value? Now, your property can be background color, and your values can be any of the colors that you know. Your property can be color, and your value can be any of the colors you know. Your property can be padding, and your value can be any padding you want to use. Don't worry, I will explain what padding is and everything. Your property can be anything. There are a whole lot of properties, like a whole lot that just so much that CSS has. And honestly, you can't just know everything off heart, like everything in your head. When you need them, you use them. If you don't remember, you look for them, look for resources and everything. So, and I told us that CSS deals with properties and value. So now, if I want to give my hello world a color, I'll say color. That's a property. And the value is not going to be, it's already black, so I will say the value is going to be red. Now, I will read this in my own browser here, and you will see what we are going to have. Can we see now? Yeah, this is what we have. So, okay, sorry about that. Now the color has changed. This is just CSS. But do you believe that without we using HTML to bring in H1, then our CSS is useless? Do we understand that? Okay, I wish someone can just respond that you're getting.
Let's respond now. It's just at the top of your mic. Just say, I understand.
Yeah,
it helps your instructor when you give feedback.
I'm sorry about that. That's just how I take my class. I cannot just continue speaking and assuming people know. So I want you to respond. Do you get it now?
Okay. Oh, we understand, Mr. Detola. No problem. If you're not on the road, please just respond. It helps. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello,
Great. So this is how you use your inline styling. I can say, okay, I need a background. So I have background color. This is a property. Then the color, the value cannot be black. If I check this should have changed. Yeah, this is what we literally call inline styling. Any styling that you are doing in between your tags, your HTML tags. Now, talking about external styling, as I said external styling are internal are those ones that you use in between your open head and your closed head. This is your open head, this is your closed head. So if I come here and I'm saying this is how you use internal styling, it's so simple. I'm saying style. See, the truth is, anywhere you hear the word style, you should know that they are talking about styling. Anywhere you hear the word style, you should know they are talking about styling. So when we wanted to style this, we used the keyword, the attribute style. Now we are using style. So now there's another thing we need to know. Things I just see. If you get these basic things in CSS, you can use CSS at any length to any length. Let me say that to any length. When you're using external styling and internal styling, definitely if I come here and come and say background, please look at me, look at what I'm doing. Oh. Background color green. This does not make sense. Because I'm just saying background color green. What is it that is taking that background color? My code will be like, does this person know what he or she is doing? Like, you are saying background color, but what is that thing that is actually taking the background color? Which means that there should be a way you can actually specify that, okay, it is my H1 that wants to give a background color, or it is my P tag that wants to give a background color, or it's a div that wants to give background color too. So you should find a way of selecting each element you want to style in your styling. Now, the word I use the word selecting. So this actually gives us the chance to have selectors. Now, we have three types of selector. We have our class. Okay, let me start. Name selector. We have our class selector, and we have our ID selector. Name, class, and ID. Now, what is the difference? When you're selecting an element by name, you're actually practicing name selector. It's just like me having a P tag here. P tag here, and I'm saying GDG Ogbomoso. And okay, let me use GDG Ogbomoso for now. GDG Ogbomoso for now. Now, if I come to my styling and I say P tag, I just say P, sorry. I just say P. This is how you style in internal styling and external. You use the selector, then your curly braces, then all your styling goes in between these blocks. Now, this is me using a name selector. What I'm trying saying is that every P tag that you see in this file, in this document in particular, help me applying the styling that is here. So if I say, okay, I want the color to be blue. If I check, are we seeing this is already blue? That's how you use name selector. If it's H1 you want to style, you would come here and say H1. If it's H2, you say H2. If it's anything, if it's both tag that you want to style, you say P tag. That's you using name selector. But mind you, any P tag that you have here automatically carries that styling. That's one of the, should I say, side effect of using name selector. Any document in particular, like any tag that is just P tag, anything, it should just keep. If I have like 100 P tags in my document now and they're carrying different content, even though I want different color for them, since I'm doing a global name selector here, everything automatically has that color. But what if you are dealing about class? What if you are dealing with class? If you want to use a class selector, you come to your P tag, that your tag in particular, and you give it a class. That class might be a name of your choice. A name of your choice. So I want to call this GDG. Not just as I want to call this GDG. But our advice is that whatever you are doing should be the name of your class. There's no problem if you are using your name as name of your class. If you feel no, I want to be using my name must not be appearing in my code now. You must not be a developer. So you want to be using your name as your class name. There's no problem, but it's not advisable because at some point it might get confusing. So it's advisable you use the name of what that thing you're styling in particular, what it's doing. You should use it as the name of your class. So if I want to style a class, I will not put dot. I'll say GDG. Now, what you are telling your styling is that this is not a name selector. This is actually a class selector. I'm using class to style. So I can come here and say, I want my color to be indigo. I want my color to be indigo. And if I refresh my page, this is my indigo. Let me try and increase my browser so I can see that. Do we see that the colors are now getting different? Am I getting a response?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Great. Now, this is me using a class selector. Now, one beautiful thing is, if I have another, now, yeah, let me say this. You can use your beta, now your class selector anywhere. If you have like two files now, two different tags, and they are probably carrying the same styling. Probably you have a class that is just giving something a color, probably your brand color. Now you're using H1 here, you're using P tag there, you're using both tag here, and you want all of them to carry that same color. You don't have to create classes for each one of them. You can use classes couple of times, multiple times. There's a very important tag we have in HTML that we'll be using, div, or some people call it div, but I call it div actually. So I can come and put another lorem here. Now I can come and use my class on a div. So I'm using class GDG. What I'm literally saying that everything that is inside that class should have color indigo. Are we saying that now? So you can actually use your class a couple of times. Please, are we get what I'm trying to say? Can we please respond? Let me know.
If you get what she's saying, please respond. Use your mic.
Yes. Probably a little bit too fast, but we're following.
Okay. Now, if you didn't say that now, she will know that she's fast. Yes. So that feedback was amazing. Thank you. So, Ms. Douglas, I think they want you to be in like year 1 or year 2. They said you're in year 4.
Okay, like I'm too fast, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll slow down. I'm going to literally slow down.
So where did you get lost though? So she will know where she's starting.
Okay, who is lost?
The classing probably from the div, when you started the div.
Okay, it said that div is actually an important tag in HTML that we'll be using a lot. Div is like just a container that you can put a couple of things inside of it. Now, my point, what I'm trying to explain here is that you can use your classes as many as possible. Like various tags can be using a particular class. I was giving us a scenario. Let's assume our brand color is blue, and you have a P tag, you have an H tag, and you have a bold tag. That's 3 different tags. But you want all of those 3 tags that are containing different things to actually have the same color. And you already have a class that is carrying that color. Let's assume you already have class brand color, or anyhow color that is carrying your color. What you will need to do, you don't have to now be creating different classes for each of those 3 elements that's going to carry the same color. You can just use the same class on those 3 different elements. Do you get it now?
Yes.
Great. So that's what I'm trying to explain. Look at it now. I'm using class GDG on 2 different elements. I'm using it on a P tag and on a div. So I'm trying to explain that you can use your classes on different tags. But now, talking about hiding. Someone dropped something in the chat. Do I need to see that? Great. Thank you, ma. Sorry, thank you, sir. Or thank you, bro. So, if you want to use hiding, let's assume I have an H2 here, and I'm using hiding GDG Ogbomoso. Let's say that's my ID. Now, in naming your class and your ID, there should not be space, and I think it should not really start with a letter, a number. You can end it with a number though. So I'm having GDG, or you can even use underscore or any other character. GDG Ogbomoso. This is my ID now, and I have, let's say I have GDSC Lautech inside of it. Now, assuming I want to style this, now I'm not using a name selector and I'm not using a class selector. I want to use ID to style this H2 in particular. If I want to use an ID, I'm going to use Ash instead. Ash instead. So I'll say Ash GDG Ogmosho. Are you seeing the difference now? So this is actually a name selector. Just for us to understand that better, I'll comment this. I believe we've been taught comments in our yesterday's class. This is a class selector. And this is actually an ID selector. Great. So I can now come here and say, okay, I want you to have background color violet, and Booyah. My GDSC LaTeX as background color violet. So that's how you actually use name selector, use class selector, and use ID selector to actually, design and give styles to your tags and your elements. I hope we get that now. Can I get a response? Yep. I'll move on because we're moving on to another thing.
Yes. Following.
Great. So this is us using internal styling. Now, if you want to use an external styling, what we will do is the same way we have GDG Ogmosho, then we are going to create another file now. If you want to use external styling now in this context, I will name my own external styling GDG Ogmosho .css. Majorly, if you are building a new website now, you majorly name it index.html. That's just conventional, like the convention in programming, especially in web part. You have your index.html, which is the entry point to your website, and you have style.css. So if you're likely to have more than one style sheet, now you can have, okay, probably your style.css is working for your landing page. You can have your about.css, your cart.css, your contact.css, your anything, depends on what you're actually building. But I'll be creating on my own end now because I guess I already, let me check through. I guess I already have. Okay, what's your question, sir?
When you say convention, what do you mean convention?
Okay, it's just like the norms in the industry in programming. That's just like the normal thing.
Okay, normal thing.
Yes, just the normal thing.
Okay.
Now it's normal for developers to be called dev. So it's just normal for us to name our entry point, like in any website you are building, any app, the first page, the landing page is normal. It's just convention to name it index.html, and style.css for your CSS file.
Okay, so naming it developer.html is just going beyond the norms.
Yeah, exactly. Why will you be using your name? Like, it's not necessary. Great. So I'll be saying GDG Ogmosho.css. This is my external styling. So I'm going to ask a quick question. Oh, our time is going. I'm going to ask a quick question, please. If I want to style my body, and I'm seeing who is going to answer that question. If I want to style my body in my external CSS, how do I do that? Oh yeah.
If you want to style the body using external CSS, what do you start with? For those that have been following, because I can see a lot of following in the comments. So let's see if you're really following. Anybody?
A dot.
Okay. Are you saying a dot? Okay.
Just a dot.
Not to waste time. If I'll be using name selector, how do I style my body?
You use the tag you want to style.
I want to start. So
Open your bracket.
thank you. I want to start my body now. So this is let me say I want my background color now to be aqua. Don't mind me, I'm just selecting those colors at random. So I have this. Now I'm already styling my body in this CSS. And let me go and check my browser. Nothing is changing. My background color is not changing. That's because I've not actually linked my external CSS with my HTML. They're not linked together. So my CSS does not know I need to be working with this. Now to link them, you link them in still in between your open head and your closed head. To link them, you will say link. You choose link CSS. Link. Then you have something called relay, just like the relationship. What is this thing that you are linking? What is it? It's just like this one is style sheet. You are just saying that okay, this is actually a style sheet. For those that will be learning JavaScript at some point in time, if it's JavaScript, this will be scripts. So it's just like what is the relationship of what you are linking with this present document, and it's actually a style sheet. What we are bringing is a style sheet. Now, the ref, this is called ref. The ref, actually, the H is silent. The ref is where your styling is, where your style.css is actually. And since our own is not style.css, our own is GDG Ogumosho.css. So I'll be supplying GDG Ogumosho.css. I hope you understand this part now.
Yep.
Great. So I'll save this and boom, our background has changed to aqua. So this is how you use internal styling, external styling, inline styling, and now you actually use your name selector, your ID selector, and your class selector. So any questions so far before we move on?
Does anybody have any question?
No.
Okay.
Not for me.
All right. I think we can fire on now.
Okay, since others are not saying anything, it's good to be quiet. Wow. Okay, there's no question. Okay, great. So now the first thing we'll be talking about is the first property we'll be treating majorly is font size. Font, how to actually deal with font. How to deal with font. Now, for those that are familiar with Microsoft Word, we should know what our font is, our fonts, font size, our font width, and everything. So let's assume, where should I start from now? Okay.
Sorry, go forward. It just dropped.
Sir?
A question just dropped. Can I ask?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead, please ask.
Okay, for the external CSS, you use name selector to style it. Can you also use class selector and ID selector?
Definitely. You can use anyone.
Do you want us to do that?
I don't mind.
Sir?
Okay, he said he doesn't mind if you just demonstrate it for them.
Yeah, don't worry, I will do that. I think we'll be using majorly external CSS for the class, so I will still touch that. Yes, I will still do that. Okay, great. So now let's assume I have a p tag here and I'm saying hello world. If I want to style this now, let me just say I want to give it a class. Okay, yeah, there's something I forgot to mention. Thank God I remembered now. When we are using class selector, we notice that you can actually use class selector on different elements. Yes. But you can't use an ID selector on different elements. It won't work, and if it works at a point in time, it will cause problems, to cause great casala. Whenever you are using ID on a particular element, that means you're saying this element is unique. So that ID you're giving to it is unique for that element in particular. As I already have GDG Ogbomoso as an ID, I am not supposed to have another tag carrying GDG Ogbomoso as an ID. It is very wrong. And at some point in time, when you're not doing complex things with those ID, it works. But when you start involving with scripts, because majorly sometimes if you want to call an element in scripts, JavaScript, any other script, you use the ID. Majorly JavaScript that I know of, you use ID to call them. So when more than 2 to 3 elements is already having the same ID, your script is confused which of those ones you are calling, and that causes a lot of issues. That's why it's rare we use class. If you have JavaScript developers amidst you can ask, it's rare we use class. So actually, refer to a particular element in our script, because we know class can be used by many things. And even the most amazing thing is that more than one element actually can have more than a class. I can come here and still come and use another class, DOR, Dockers, or DOR. I can still come and decide to use another class, font. It's possible you create almost 3 classes, like one element using different 3 classes. It happens. So imagine I'm using my script to refer to those classes. It will be confused. Which one do you want me to pick? But because ID is actually unique, very, very unique, it's just an ID to an element, an ID to an element, an ID to an element. So moving on, I have my class. I'll call this class font. So going to my CSS now, if I want to style it, I'll say dot font. The first thing I'll be doing is I'll say, okay, font. I can say font size now. We have some options here: large, larger, medium, small, smaller, extra large. If you don't need any one of them, I can say I want it to be large as 50. Now there's something we will add at the end of that 50, which is actually our unit. Same way you have unit of measurement, you have your centimeter, you have your millimeter, you have kilometer, you have all those things, gram, milligram, blah, 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 all those things. Same way you have your pixel, your EM, your PT, your REM. There are a whole lot of units now. So I will put that to us. See, we have VH, that's view height. There's a whole lot of, we have percent too, a whole lot of units here. So I would put it to us that we should learn more on that, because we don't have time, just 1 hour left. I will not really be going deep into units. But one of the ones that we use majorly is pixel, percent, and EM. And EM basically goes more with font when you're dealing with font. So if I say 50 EM, you'll be surprised. And EM is so large. One EM is actually like 16 pixels. Let's try this now. So where is I'm not seeing, okay. Imagine, are we seeing how big this LO is? That's EM is so large.
Wow, so big.
So large. But if I'm using pixel, if I'm saying 50 pixel now, look at 50 pixels to actually 50 EM. So that's how you increase the size of your text. Use font size. Use there's something called font weight. That's where you deal with how bold you want it to be. There are suggestions: 100, 800, 900. If you choose 900, that one is just 900. No any other unit following it. You see that it's more bolder. Are we seeing that now? It's more bold. You can also touch the font family. Font family. Now, that's one beautiful thing about Visual Studio Code actually. Visual Studio Code actually suggests like some things, some font families. And I believe if we are familiar with Microsoft Word, at least all these font families will not be too All I say is now will not be so new to us. So if I choose this, okay, carrier new and carrier monospace, what this is saying, these are like 3 different font family. What this is saying that if you don't find this on this browser, use this. If you don't find this, use this. And if it does not find this, then to now use the default font family, because each browser actually has a default family that it applies to all its elements. So I'm saying that if you now I'm using there is an exclamation, sorry, a quote here, because this is actually there's a space in between them. Whenever you are giving a font family that will have space, you must put it in quote. But if it's just a single word, you just leave it that way. So if you check this now, did you see that our font family has changed? This is everyone with me.
Yes, well with you, huh? That's changed.
Great.
Yes.
So look at our font family has actually it has changed. It has changed. So that's how we deal with our font family. There is a whole lot about fonts. Like there's a lot to do. Yeah, there's font weight, font family. So I think I've touched font size, font family thing. But we don't have much time, so I will not dwell more on that much. But this is just the basics. Then anything else you can still do on it. So do we all understand the font part before we move on?
Yes.
All right then. Only Mr. Timothy has been talking since. Every other person, do we understand? Ito and Tobloba Jai. Okay, Tobloba says, okay, I'm seeing I don't. What don't you understand, please? Tobloba Jai, what don't you understand? I'm reading you don't or I don't in the comment section. I guess we should go on. No one's on.
Okay, we should
Yeah.
go on. Bro Tobiloba, what is it that you don't understand? Okay, you understood everything.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, great. So now I think I've dealt with backgrounds too. How to actually add background. Should not be new to us again. You can see me use background color, background this, background that, background this. But what if you want to actually bring in an image? You want to have a background image. A background image. So let's give our body a background image. Let's see that. If you want to bring in this is the background image, you say background image, then you use URL. Inside your URL, that's where you supply where your image is. So let me see my folders, the folders that have images. Okay, my images are in folder. Where's that? Folder images. Let me see the images that I have that I can actually bring in. What is in this? Okay, let's just see. So if I want to bring in my images, I can now say, what I'm saying is, if I want to bring in image, just go to a folder because my image are actually in a folder called images. Yeah, in my file structure, is in a folder called images. So I'll say, okay, images. If you want this image to be image, if you want this picture to be picture, anything, then slash the name of the image. Let me use that 4.jpg. I don't really know what's in that picture, but let's see it out. So this is how you actually use the background image. You cannot be using a background image and background color together. So I'm going to comment out my background color so my background image will show. Now this is my background image. And now say that I have a background image. But the image is not that big, it's not that large, so it's actually duplicating itself. It's duplicating itself. So to control that, I can say background repeat should be no repeat. So I'm saying don't repeat. And it's not repeating, but it's not large enough to contain the whole screen. Your own image might be actually large enough to contain everything. It depends on what it could be that your own image, your background image could be in a small div. It might not be in the whole body. I'm just showing us the context of how you can actually use background image. But I would most likely change the image because the image is not that large. So I don't know if I can get another large image instead of stressing ourselves and wasting a whole lot of time. I
What
hope.
if the image is
Sir,
what if the image is too large?
if it's too large, yes, now that will bring me to the concept of width and height. I would still explain that. Width and height. That will bring me to the concept of width and height. So if I want to use a width, let me open a div to practice that now. I have a div. I want to call it I'll give it class sizing. I'm sorry, I just like using class sizing. So I'm going to say okay, dot sizing. I cannot say okay, I want the width. Width is just like how long is going to be horizontally. Yeah. Then the height is how long is going to be vertically. Vertically. So for the width part, I can just use 50%. That will be majorly half of the screen. Half of the screen. Then we're going to say an height of majorly when you're using an height, you use primary pixel or view height, viewpoint. So I'll use viewpoint. I'll say 50 viewpoints. That's what I use majorly. So I'm going to give it a background color, so it's going to show. What color should we go for? I'll say color black. So I should actually see my div here. Okay, I'm not seeing my div.
Looks like we're about to build an e-commerce website.
Don't worry, I'll remove the background. The background is too. I don't understand.
I like it anyway.
Hey, I'm looking for my my div, and I can't find it. I don't know why. Okay, let me try and put something inside the div. Let's see if it's going to actually show. If I'm putting something inside the div now, I will say the color should be white because I'm already saying the color background color should be black. So okay, I will save that. Okay, yeah, and this is
I think our speaker just had network issue. I'm sure she will join back. Well, up to this point, I believe we are having a great time. Learning HTML and CSS, no matter how unfine it might be, it's actually really important and very vital to anybody that is looking to build a career in tech. Give me a second, please. Okay, so looks like our speaker is okay. I was joined back. Sorry about the break in transmission.
okay. I'm so sorry about that.
You're welcome back.
Okay, so I'll share my screen again and continue from. Oh. I can't share my screen though. It's telling me that host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, give me a second. Let me handle that. Why? Okay.
I still can't share my screen.
Give me a second now. Give me a second. You can try now.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, so back to this now. I was talking about width and height. I said that width is just the length horizontally and height is the length vertically. So I gave it a width of where is it now? Sorry. Okay, I gave it a width of basically 50 pixels. So that's just like half of your screen. Your full screen normally is majorly 100%. Then the height of 50 VH, and this is where it's actually reaching. Are we together now? Can
Yes, we are.
everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, yes.
Great. So now let me also touch the concept of padding and margin. Padding and margin. Now, padding is just like the distance between, I'll use this div as an example now. Your padding is the distance between the content of your div from the edges of the div. Padding is the distance, now this lorem that is inside this div does not have a distance. Like it's just so close to those divs, right? But when you give it a padding now, it's actually going to shift it. It's going to shift it at least from those edges of the div. That's padding. Now, margin basically. Margin is the distance of the div from the body. So padding is the distance between the content of a div or the content of anything you are using it from. And margin is the distance of that whole container from the body. So if I say that I want this to have a padding of 20 pixel, padding of 20 pixel. Now we have this. Look at what we have. We have this. Can we see that there's a space now? There's a space. But the way padding works is whenever you use the word padding, it will give you 20 pixels at the top, 20 pixels by the right, 20 pixels by the bottom, and 20 pixels by the left. That's how your padding works. Simple margin. It's just like top, right, bottom, and left. If you don't want the padding at the bottom, you can just say padding top. And it's only the top that is having it. If it's just at the right, you can just say padding right. And this is the padding at the right. If it's just the left hand side, you can say padding left. And it's just at the left hand side. If it's bottom, you will say padding bottom. The padding is there for the bottom, but we might not see it because there's still a lot of space here. So that's how you use your padding. But coming to margin, I'm saying margin. You can say margin of 20 pixel, and you will see that it's going to move the whole div now. So I told you that padding is just the distance between your div and the content, and margin is the distance between that whole div, like the whole container that is housing that thing, from the main body. So there's like a margin of 20 pixel here, a margin of 20 pixel here, a margin of 20 pixel at the left, and a margin of 20 pixel at the bottom. So if you want only at the bottom, you can now say, okay, I want my margin bottom, or look at this now. The margin is only at the bottom, it's not at the left, none at the top, none at the right. So that's how margin and padding works. Please, do we get that part? Let me hear a response before we move on to another thing.
Yeah.
Great. So that's the concept. Let me quickly chip in the concept of border before we go into position and display. See, To be honest now, CSS is so large. CSS is so huge. Like some people use like 2 weeks to take CSS, some 3 weeks, and it's not like they know the whole of CSS because in the world of development, in the world of technology, actually things are evolving. You just notice that something that was that didn't exist yesterday, as of yesterday, is already coming into tech as of tomorrow. So there's a lot to CSS. We can't learn the whole of CSS in a day. But I believe that if we've gotten like the basis now, to build on what we already know will not be a problem. Trust me, if you want to be serious with CSS, with this little thing that we've done with this 1 hour, something, some few minutes, you should be able to pick up CSS on your own and just keep diving into the world of CSS, because you can just decide to just base majorly on CSS and you'll be getting a whole lot of things, every new day, every new day. That's the point. But I believe knowing the basis will help a lot, and since we've gotten the basis now, the basis, see, anybody that's going to take the CS, that's going to learn CSS, if you just know your internal external styling and you know your selectors, you are good to go. And you know few properties, other properties, whenever you need them, you hacks and you will get it. There are a whole lot of resources out there to help us. Probably I'll suggest one, W3 schools. And it's not so amazing and so interesting if you get an instructor that can even put you through. You really enjoy it. So as I was saying, I would let's touch the concept of border before we move on. I can say I want my border to be, just follow me, I'll explain this: solid, then the red. Now, this 2 pixel is how thick your border is going to be. The solid is just like a style, then your red, that's a color. So this is actually going to give our div a border. And do we see that our black border now has our black div now has a red border? A red border. Is someone saying something in the chat? Okay, thank you for dropping the link to W3 School, sir. So this is it now. If I say, okay, I want this to be like 10 now, 10 pixels, you will see that it will be so thick, like a old thick. Now, this is it. There are ways you can actually do this one by one, but going into that will take a lot of our time. So I'll just stick with this part. But if you want to learn more, you can do that from 10 pixel. Like now, this is just how thick you want those things to be. There is solid. I think there is dashed. There's dashed. You see how dashed it to this now is just like dashed. There's dotted. See, there's a whole lot of these things. Let's just don't let us stop it here. Let's just learn more. Dotted. I think there is also groove. Yes, this is groove. Something like, I don't know, looks like 3D. Are we seeing the changes at all?
Yes.
Yes, we're seeing it, ma.
Great. So you can also use this one we call ridge. That one also is just like groove, just the other way around of groove. You can try this out. There's another important thing that I would like to mention now. That's border radius. That's like how curvy you want your borders to be, and that deals with your top. It's like, this is your top left, your top right, your top bottom. This is your, okay, let me do it like this. This is like your top, as we all know. So this is your border top. Everything here is your border top. Everything here is your border left. Everything here is your border right, border left, and border bottom here. So you might even want to decide that what you want to style alone is just your border top now. And you will notice that it's only the top that is going to have this style. Are we seeing that? Wow, I think I like this. Isn't it nice?
Yes.
Cool. So
that's very cool.
Yeah, so you can say you would want it to be at the top. So you can say you want it to be at the left, anyhow you want it to be. But border radius is actually how curvy these edges is going to be. Your border radius deals with your edges. So I can say I want my border radius to just be 20 pixel, and you will see how coffee that is. Are we seeing the cuff now?
Wow, looks like a very nice card.
Yeah, yeah.
An image of it.
See, that's it now. And one beautiful thing, I might not be doing that first, so I will put it to us to find that out on ourselves. But you can actually make just only these two edges coffee, and this place will not be coffee. You can make only the two top edges coffee and not this part coffee. You can just be creative with it. Honestly, there's a whole lot you can do. So this is like your border. How should I explain this that will get it? I want to give us an hint. This is when you want to tamper with this part. This will be your border top left. This is going to be your border top right. This is going to be your border bottom right, and this is going to be your border bottom left. So it's just how creative you want to be with it. Now, moving on to the concept of display. I think yesterday in the HTML class, our instructor explains that in HTML there are block level elements and there are inline level elements. I hope he did right.
Yes, Mr. Shade taught block level and inline level elements. Yeah.
Great. Now, I believe you know that block level elements are those elements that they take the whole of your screen, like the whole. They don't allow other elements to stay beside them, right? Am I right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Great.
Like the header.
Thank you, like your header, thank you, your section, yeah, exactly, your head, each one said p tag. Your div too is a block level element. Your div is a block level element. Your span, your bold, and inline level element. So they allow each other to stay, they stay beside each other. Now, assuming like something like, let's do a very simple and fine card now. Assuming I have something like this, a O div, I'll see like 3 divs now. 3 divs. So this is what I have. I would put like something, just one, the first div, 2, and I'll put like 3 in here. So I would give this class each div, and I'll give this mother div class wrapper or mother or anything. So I'll just say wrapper. It's one that is wrapping the all other divs now. So I'll come to my CSS and I would style my each div first. So I would say my each div should have a background color of can someone suggest a fine color? I mean fine color that is fine. No.
Light blue.
Light blue. We have that. We have light coral light. Should we try this? Okay, this light is not going to fine. No. Should we try the light coral?
Blue light is not that one.
Which one?
Light. Wow. Good.
Oh.
Light blue.
Light blue. It's not going to be fine.
Much.
It's not going to be fine. I will use light coral as my class. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. Okay, now there are different ways you can actually supply your colors. There are RGBA, there are HEX, there's HSL, and we might not be able to go into that, but please let's read on that. We have a target for this class, and if time permits, I might touch that now. If time permits. Oh, we have someone that is called Wonderful Boss in our midst. That's amazing. Mr. Delacqua, were you referring to him the other time?
Yes, Wonderful Boss. What an awesome name.
Okay. All right. So this is what we have, our background, and I'm going to give it I'll give it an height, not something too large. Let me just say 30 view height, and the width should just be like probably 25% of the screen. Let's see if that's going to be nice. Oh wow, my HDV is not working. Why? Are the names of my destiny? Okay, I used capital D and I'm using small d. Do you see this now? Are we noticing what is happening? Look at it now. My class names are not correct, so it's not working. I'm using capital D here and I'm using small letter D here. So these might be small issues that we might actually have. And developers will be like, yeah, code the yield, I can't do this. So what is this? So code them all, you just find them and you fix them. It's as simple as that. Now we have those divs now. I would like to style them. I would give them a border, like just what we just did now. A border of 2 pixel. Let's just go with 5 pixel groove. So which color will go now? Which color can go now? Let's try pink. What kind of color combination is this?
Let's use yellow.
Okay, we should use yellow.
Yeah, yellow cards, I guess. Okay,
Yellow. So I'll just make it border top now. Border top. Yeah. I think it's nice. Not bad. Or we should just go for your border light blue now. I'll give you border radius of like 10 pixels now.
Assuming there were a lot of ladies on this in this class now, we will not have problem with colors.
Because me, I don't really like colors. Did you see this is your light blue? Do you prefer this?
Oh, this is cooler.
You should use Cora.
I said that is cool. Anyway, it's fine.
Okay, light blue is cooler.
Yes.
Ah. Okay.
Anybody can speak. I'll just say my own.
Okay. We'll go with this. Then we can make this red instead. I think red goes up. That yellow is kind of offset. Anyways, let's just maintain this. Now, this is a block level element, and they're just literally staying on different lines. And that's not what we want. We want them to stay beside each other. Imagine you're building an e-commerce website and you have this, and you're showing different images of what you're selling in your store, and you're just staying on different lines like this, and all this space is now white, and you're now scrolling. Your user is now scrolling, and like, who is the person that developed this thing? Like, who did? So there's a way you can actually place all these things now beside each other, And how can we do that? Since it's a block level element, and it should definitely not stay beside themselves. There's something we call display in HTML. Sorry, let me say in CSS now. If I say this should display block, I'm saying I want two people to show, and they are showing. By default, they are display block. But if I say display none, my brothers and sisters on this platform, we'll see that our divs have disappeared. That's display none means you people should not display at all. We don't want to see you. Display block and display none. There's display inline block. There's display. We should be able to do that probably tomorrow when we are building the whole full responsive app, the whole website. We'll use the concept of HTML and CSS to do that. So we should still learn more tomorrow. But there's something we call display flex too, that will actually make all those divs to stay beside each other. Now, we are actually going to use that display flex on the mother div, which is the wrapper. So I can definitely come here and say my wrapper should help me display. Okay. Should help me display flex everything that is inside it. And this would actually, okay, now it's still not showing because I thought I've removed this thing now. Okay, now look at it now. Can we see that our divs are actually been forced to stay on different line? Are we seeing that at all? Oh, looks like I mistakenly changed the color of our div. Oh, so sorry about that. It wasn't intentional. It was not intentional. I was just dragging this thing. Okay, now, so they are on the same line now. So that's the work of display flex. It actually helps you to place things beside each other. You can say, okay, the flex direction by default is row. row. This is it. But I can say, okay, I want my flex direction to be column. Once it's column, they return back to 1 1 on each line. But want them to be row. You can say, okay, you want them to be row reverse. That means it's going to reverse there. Look at it now. 3 2 1 instead of 1 2 3. Are we seeing that at all?
Yes, we're seeing
Yeah.
it.
Great. But you can decide that you want it to be column reverse. So instead of 1 2 3, it's going to be 3 2 1, but still on the same line now, like on different lines. So that's it. But this is not the purpose. Why we're actually using flexes because we want them to stay beside each other. So there's no need of using our row reverse or row reverse or column reverse or column. So we are going with row. But they are just two. I don't know why they want to marry each other now. They're just joining each other. So to give in space between them, I think you use justify contents now. Justify contents, you can say space around. Let's see that. Cool. Are we seeing that now?
Yes.
Isn't this good now?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, great. So
Bring someone.
yeah, you can say space around, you can say space between. There's a whole lot that we can actually do. There's space between. There are a whole lot of options now. Have we seen? And thank God it suggests you can say, okay, every one of them should be at the center, joined at the center. But most times, what we do is we do space evenly, distribute the space evenly, and everything. There's another thing that we do. We use align too. Now, justify is majorly for the horizontal part, but align is majorly for the vertical part. Let's see how big our wrapper is now. I just want to try that, so I will show us what I'm trying to say. Okay, this is our wrapper. I'm going to give it an height of like 50 VH now. So it's actually be longer than the content inside the box, right? Great. So if I want now, this is at the top. If I want it to be at the middle now, like at the middle vertically now, I'm actually going to use align item. I think align content now. Yeah. Align content now. Align it to, let's see, center. Oh, wow. That is not responding. Let's see space around. I think
You want to say align items.
Items, yeah. Still not working, oh. Wow. This is a huge bug. Who is going to fix that for us? Come in, let me try.
Align item center.
It's still not working. Now, that's one of the problem CSS has. Something might be working this minute and the next minute, okay, it's not working. Yeah. And the next minute, it's not working. So align item to the center. If you align it like vertically, it's aligned vertically and horizontally. Do we all understand the concept of flex now? Before I move on to the last thing.
The thing is, if you can master the concept of Flexbox, you can do almost anything in designing a web page.
Yeah, exactly.
So this simple thing that was just done now, it can really earn you a lot of money. We'll talk about that later. You can continue now.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Okay. Now, okay. Do everyone understand this part now before we move on to the last thing on our list for today?
Yes.
Okay, there's a question. Bring it on, please.
Is there a question?
I thought there's a question.
No, I think Timothy understands. I want to get feedback from wonderful boss, Tobiloba Ajayi, Blessing Adebayo. So I'll know that you're here. I did tell you, Daniel.
Sir?
Yeah, I want to get feedback from each and everybody. If you're here, just say hi. Blessing Adebayo. I did
Hi,
tell you,
hi.
Daniel. All right. It's good
Blessing
to.
Adebayo, hi.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Blessing.
Yes, all right.
Wonderful boss. Wonderful boss. I'd like to hear your voice.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Really nice to meet you guys. So our instructor has been, anytime she asks for feedback, only Mr. Timothy has been responding. So, and we have more than, 2 or 3 persons here. So I want to hear your voice too.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. You can continue, Mom.
All right, sir. So to the last thing on our list today, which is we're talking about positions. Now, we have various types of position relative, absolute, sticky, and fixed, and static. But the one we'll be discussing for the purpose of this class, all these positions are different concepts on their whole. But the one we'll be talking about for the purpose of this class will be position sticky and fixed. And as I've said, they are things that you can also read more on them by yourself. So to use my position, I would like to show us. Most times that you see some people that when you do I have an example of such here now? I'm trying to see if I can get an example. Can I quickly get like a website that you can actually see that their nav bar is actually fixed and it's not moving? Okay. Let me try SKI site now. I want to just show us a template of what we want to do. Okay, is this Facebook? How is it? Please just give me a few minutes. I just want to show us what we want to do before I move on. Okay, what's going on? Now, look at it now. No matter how I scroll, like no matter how, these divs never leave where it is. Do we notice that? Like, they call it a div. This nav bar now is always there. Do we see that now? Like, it doesn't move. It just goes with me throughout the page. And that's because it is fixed. That's what we call position fixed. But this is an example of position sticky. Look at this chart. Need help? Chat with us now. Is at this point now. Are we seeing this, please?
Yes.
Yeah, I want us to get the difference between fixed. Look at fixed now. This one is fixed. So no matter how I scroll now, it doesn't move. But look at this. The need chat with us part here. Naturally, it is supposed to, once you are scrolling, it's supposed to disappear. But it's just going with us through. It's going with us through our scrolling. This is sticky. It's being sticky. So I want to explain the difference. I will show us how it works, and then we'll.
I think. Okay, just. Miss Doctors, your mic is muted. Though.
Sorry. I needed to quickly attend to something. I'm so sorry about that. Okay.
It's fine.
All right. So now we want to try our own position sticky and fixed. So what I'm going to do is, at first, I'm going to create. I will use a div as an example here. I'm going to create a div here. So I'm going to say, I'll give it class fixed. So I will say it now. I will style it here now. I'm going to say my fixed now. My fixed should have a width of 100 pixel. It should have background color, let's say black now. Let's say it should have an height of 10 viewpoints is okay. 10. So I have this. Did I save? Okay, I don't save this. Oh, this is it now. This is my div. I think I said width of 100%. Why is it? Okay, 100 pixel. Sorry, 100%. That's the whole screen. And this is my div. But there's some unnecessary space around and I don't want that. Now that's because automatically your body has a default margin and a padding that you attach to your content now. It has a default padding and margin. So if you want to remove that, we can. There's something called global styling in HTML. Sorry, in CSS. Wow. This is a whole lot of things. Like there's some people that they don't even know what a global styling is, but I'll be giving it to us. Global styling. If you want to style something that it will affect everything in your page, you don't have to be creating classes. You can just make a global styling. And if you want to make a global styling, you just use the word star, then your curly braces. So I can say I want my padding to be 0. So that means throughout this body should not have a padding, and my margin should be 0 too. So I'm saying throughout, don't give any of my elements a default margin. And we'll notice that this is closed already. Are we seeing that now?
Yes.
Yeah,
so
but my...
You're saying that in that global styling,
yes,
if I style there, it's going to affect everything inside my page. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. That's why you see that it has removed the paddings and everything. Everything is now closed. Are we seeing
that's
that?
why it's called global, like universal.
Exactly. That's just
right.
it.
Awesome.
So my H1 is already close to it because I've given it a global styling that there should be no padding or margin. So I will give this a margin top just to move that away from it. Margin top of, let's say, just 40 pixel. 40 pixel. So I should have this. Now there's a space. So if I keep scrolling now, did you see that my black background, the one at the top here, is already going? This one that is representing like our nav bar is already going with it. And we don't want that to happen. We want it to be fixed. To do that now, what you just need to do is just give it, it's as simple as possible, just give it position fixed, and it will be fixed. Now look at it, it moved downward. Look at it, it's here already and it's fixed. But you now have to specify something. Since you are fixing it to the top, you cannot say that the distance that will be at the top should be 0 pixel. If you are fixing it to the bottom now, you will say that the bottom should be 0 pixel. If I want to, let me do this. Let me say left now. Let me say 5 pixel. You see that there's some 5 is too small. Let me say 15. Do you see that there's a space here now? Although it's still fixed, but there's a space here. So you can say the left to be 0%. That's just it. This is how your position fixed works. It makes it fixed, and if you keep scrolling for millions of times, it will be fixed. Do we understand how position fixed now works?
Yes.
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 So the last one I will be talking about is position sticky. So let me see, which div do we have now? Which div can I use? Okay, let me use this big div. This div that is fine. This is black background now. If I'm saying this should be sticky, what's the name of that div now? Okay, I think I used sizing for that. If I'm giving this position sticky, then I will now specify the top. Okay, when you notice it has already 70% now, you should now get sticky. So as of 70 pixels, it will be moving. 17, like this is how it works now. The 17 pixels that we specify is from the starting of the div. I wish you can actually see my hand. The top of the div to the distance as from this part. Are you seeing my mouse?
Yes, I
Yeah.
can see your mouse.
Yeah. Yeah, so the 70 pixel is the distance from here to wherever it's 70. If I start scrolling now, look at it though. Did you see that it has stopped now?
Yeah, sure.
Did you see that it has stopped? Yes, so this is position sticky. So this is the distance of 70 pixel. From here to here. From here to here. So that means it will be sticky. Once it sees that the distance is already 70 pixels, it will be sticky. So it will keep flowing throughout the page. And this is it. So that's why sometimes you see some website, they will have, when you click on something, it will take you back to the top of the page. Probably some pages that are so long, and there's an icon that just keep going through the pages with you. That anytime you click on it, it just run you back to the beginning of the page. It is position sticky that is at work. So how sticky works is at some point in time it will be scrolling, but when I get to that specified limit, it will now what? It will stop and start following you down the screen. So that's the difference between position sticky and fixed. When you give it position relative, you're just saying it should be relative to the body, like the whole body. Now all this position, it depends on what. If you don't need them, you don't have to use them, but if you need them, you really have to use them. So I think I would be drawing the curtain for the day today at this point. So any question from anyone?
Ask your questions.
Any question?
Is it clear
Right,
tomorrow
will be amazing. We'll be bringing all these concepts that we've learned. We'll use them to do something interesting tomorrow.
That interesting thing
we're going
to do the site.
Yeah, this a whole site. Can you imagine? So it's good you understand what we did yesterday and today. And yesterday is gone, but we are still in today. So if you have any question, please bring it on forward. Call it a day finally.
Is there any question? Are we
Even
clear?
Addition, if you have something to add or you have something to subtract or you want to divide itself, you are free to do that.
If you are dividing small, please. Thank you.
Coming from anyone?
I think everybody is fine. Okay, let me do a roll call again. Mr. Blessing Adebayo, are we good?
Yes.
Also, Mr. Semako or Simako, are we good, sir?
Yeah, we're good. Good to go.
Good to go. Awesome. I like that. Wonderful boss.
Yeah, good
wonderful.
To go.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah. Awesome.
Mr. Timothy, are we good to
Yeah.
go, sir?
Good to go.
Great. Mr. Toby Loba has been with us from the beginning. Are we good to go, sir? Okay, I'm not sure you heard me, but let's appreciate our instructor by just saying thank you or say nice words in the comment section. Let's feel appreciated. Thank you.
All right, so I think I'm free to go, right?
Yeah. Well.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Ms. Dorcas.
Yes,
thank you so much.
Ms. Dorcas for coming around and for letting us on CSS.
Thank you, sir. You're welcome, sir.
Okay, so tomorrow is going to be a blast. Like all these things we've been learning from since day before yesterday, HTML and CSS, all these concepts, we're going to put them together and build design a website from the scratch. And if you're going, by tomorrow, if you are coding along, because it's going to be a live coding session, if you are coding along, by the time we are done, you will be able to boast that you designed a website from scratch. I know you can share it with your friends. I'm just going to show us some few examples. I mean, to show, I mean, to prepare our minds for tomorrow. Let me share my screen. Okay. A lot of beautiful websites you see out there. Can you see my screen? Can everybody see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay. What is sharing anyway? Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So all those beautiful websites you see. Okay, what just happened?
Well, we're not seeing it anymore.
We can't see your screen again.
All right, give me a second, please. Sometimes Zoom wants to share me to our. All right. How about now?
Yes, we've seen that.
All right. So I'm going to show you like some really cool sites that's, you know,